Hey guys, if you don't have your board marker and eraser or paper and a pencil, pause this video right now and grab your materials. So in today's mini lesson, we talked about how we're going to be extending what we know about the zeros trick from multiplication, and now we're going to be applying that with division. So if we're looking at our problem, remember that first step is to discover what our basic fact problem is. So in here, our basic fact problem is we would just ignore the zeros. So we're going to underline 24 and 8. So we have to ask ourselves, what's 24 divided by 8? And if we don't know that off the top of our head because we're still working on our division facts, we have to ask ourselves, 8 times what equals 24? So 8 times what equals 24? Go ahead and write that down on your board. So now that you've had some time to think about what 8 times what equals 24, the answer is 3. 8 times 3 equals 24. But remember with our zeros trick with multiplication, whatever is on one side of the equal sign, how many zeros are on one side of the equal sign, you also have to have the same number on the other side of the equal sign. So on this side of the equal sign, how many zeros do we have? Well, we only have 1. So that means that we also have to have 1 0 on this side of the equal sign. So now we know that 30 times 8 equals 240. Or the answer to 240 divided by 8 equals 30. Let's look at another one. So our next problem that we have is 400 divided by 5. I want for you to pause this video right now and go ahead and figure out what 400 divided by 5 is. Pause this video. So now that you've gone ahead and figured out what 400 divided by 5 is, let's just double check our answer. So if we're using the zeros trick, then what we would think to do is we would underline the 4 and we would underline the 5. But remember, you have to ask yourself, 5 times what equals whatever this larger number is? And does 5 times anything equal 4? No, that's not possible because 4 is less than 5. So that means that we would have to include one more digit in this problem. So now what we're really looking at is 5 times what equals 40. That makes more sense than 5 times what equals 4. So 5 times what equals 40? Well, 5 times 8 equals 40. But remember, we have to look at our zeros trick. And we have to look at however many zeros are on this side have to also be on this side. So we're ignoring what we've already underlined. That's why we need to get in the good practice of underlining our things. So how many more zeros do we have? One more zero, right? This one right here, we're ignoring this one because we've already used it. So that means we have to add one more 0 to our answer. And if you were to check, if you were to be solving 80 times 5, this would be true because 80 times 5, you would write 40 first and then your extra 0, right? So 400 divided by 5 equals 80. All right, last one. On your board or on your paper, go ahead and figure out what 1,200 divided by 6 is. Pause this video and go ahead and solve. All right, so now that we've solved, let's go ahead and look. So I have a 1 and a 2 that I'm going to underline because I know for sure that's with our zeros trick and our 6. So let's look here. Does 6 times anything equal 12? Sure does. 6 times 2 equals 12. Now we got to look back at our problem. We have 1, 2 zeros in our problem, so that means we also need to add 2 zeros to our answer. So if we were to go back and check, 6 times 2 equals 12, add 2 zeros, yep, it checks out. 1,200 divided by 6 equals 200. So make sure that you're double checking and having the exact same number of zeros on either side when you're adding on those zeros tricks. All right, good luck on your exit ticket.